Welcome to Tidbit Talkin. This series is just spewing out assorted thought about boatloads of entertainment media. Some ideas are serious, others not so much. There will be spoilers for the series currently featured, but generally only vague references to any other connected ones in a shared universe. Now, with all that out of the way, here we go. That fourth armor or Zero Buster can't get repaired because most of the top quality spare materials these hunters have were used for an advanced teleportation system that allows extra damaged troops to record data on where they really wound up screwed over. We simply exist. This right here is him pondering why humans would create artificial beings that are just like them. What with the capability to make decisions that might result in damaging planet Earth through war or whatever, it's all very redundant. This talk about sensing pure evil must stem from Sir Scarlet Slasher somewhat sort of remembering how a certain seemingly amoral energy got converted into more viral versions after bits of tinkering. Perhaps said digital disease developing new forms quite rapidly as of late might have really sparked some very data recollection action. Everybody evacuates due to protocol, not because they think the colony crash will hit their base directly. Hence why said building's just fine, more or less immediately after all this craziness. Also, they mostly went outside to watch. Light just now started appearing before Zero as well because he wants to check and see how Mr. Well-Shampooed Metal Warrior is behaving since the virus has grown advanced enough to bring Wily's full consciousness back. The Security Blueprint Division hoopla is of course because said super sickness stuff sparks worry that individually assembled pieces would get infected. When it's just partial plant present, Captain Kinda Corporeal can depend on making a specific antivirus only for his pod specs, and also enjoy nice bonuses, like developing further countermeasures, such as making new reverse hacking crap without worry about enemies wielding ultra-war doodads if one thing gets swiped by a traditional digital theft junk. These Falcon legs were thrust here because Dr. Light thought a Flying X surveying those endlessly driving in circles contagion-consumed convoys like some sort of super smart helicopter was a pretty good idea. Slashing Crescent Guy's weakness is Twin Dream because Deadly Doubles can attack every part of his huge body all at once when he comes in fighting with that ever-so-curled-up battle posture. Plus he might be overexerting himself attempting to grab things which can't truly be touched. Thorny Balls bust Bear Boy because his digging mechanism sporting claws pull their shards into innards, at which point they start really tearing vital wiring up. Alias shock over something as old as U-555 from that museum getting infected is because such cyber sickness shenanigans bring about the first genuine worry ancient robots like X or Zero can actually go Maverick too. Bulky bird body barrier is here because Light wants X to have practice with the demanding maneuvering we usually have to do while flying by making him go through tricky spike maze deals after being in some place with naturally altered gravity feeling whatnot. Crescent crap cripples him because the extra layer of added attack in Zero Slash moves the air in such a way that it blows his freezing breath deal back towards him. X's variant is basically the same thing, but it achieves this result through pure pushing power, as opposed to double defense deals dealt by carefully practiced swordsmanship, creating a skill barrier or whatever. Sigma sends somebody not him-filled because he wants to see if Hunter Base's secret modern prototype tech stuff has developed sufficient antiviral software that can prevent his current form's infectious power by making sure sickness still isn't present upon return trip. He also might want to see if fighting foes that aren't truly mad reminds him of the Repliforce trouble in an overwhelmingly harsh memory bringing up sort of way. Hella Helmet is tucked away behind this weird energy door thingy because Light doesn't want X to forget the value of power and ammo conservation even when he's equipped with gadgets, which heavily reduce that. These tethered tools seem like their general role of electricity production is able to resume after busting has occurred because they are equipped with oddly efficient backup generators which solely rely on kinetic craziness for functionality. Cold dashing and other such assaults short-circuit him by altering the direction of his power flow in addition to its movement rate. The temperature-altering system future super robots wield are just really freaking advanced. Avian arms that can't charge special blasters hang out behind something that requires such weaponry to destroy, so X can learn about being highly appreciative of super shooting said stuff. After all, his predecessor would only increase the power of basic Buster Buck. His atypical energy-utilizing body can't really handle standard electrical current. Not to mention it getting applied directly under his hover jet wings can't exactly be good for overheating prevention malarkey. The virus spread to Space Colony Eurasia via some weightlessly drifting Sigma chunks after Final Weapon was destroyed. It was able to shift into a more original similar form relatively quickly because the tremendous lack of resistance program things up there let more mutations happen than usual. Once Sir Sinister Smile saw the right variant molding, he took his differently shaped program remains to Earth for some decoy attack zaniness so everything up there could multiply without interference, while those lovely hunter folks were distracted. The apparently useless on its own Gaia headgear is here behind crazy firepower maze puzzle deals, because Light feels like he must make sure X really gets used to being not so mobile before wielding this overly heavy armor. Said somewhat sizable steel supersuit, which is quite good for demolition/construction, and was stated to have been created long ago by top-tier Tommy. May be made from repurposed parts originating from a bulky bot that the good doctor tasked with burying Commander fighting reluctantly's testing capsule. Intense radiance in various forms overwhelm him, but it's not because of vampiric nonsense. Rather, it's all due to him only possessing one visual processor, for whatever reason. There's probably an issue with his CPU brain knowing how much luminance is present, but not having it spread out across two different image receptors, as per the original program. Maybe he simply took his other eye out once the infection started, because there were thoughts regarding such an action being good for craziness prevention, but it all just winded up all total failure. XN0 must have studied bomb disarming after the Sky Lagoon disaster. Pegasus put explosives all over this place once he first felt faint fragments of infection. Dude was willing to bet those famous Maverick hunters, who could beat his Rebel Force superiors, would inevitably come after him once he turned, and wanted them gone without a direct confrontation, since such scenarios would likely result in guaranteed defeat. Of course a huge military operation would have spare weapon energy tanks in odd places, especially since those responsible with keeping everything in order probably ain't doing too well after the massive virus spreading. Thinking about fairly frail bird bot bodies and the like compelled Light to put the extra defended armor bits up in here. Speaking of half that last sentence, Darkhold hampers him horrifically because his wings being all unconventionally frozen and then suddenly moving alongside but out of sync with intense air current really messes up relatively not weighty flight-capable torsos. If the colony is already destroyed, Dynamo's battle purpose no longer has anything to do with buying time. He's merely fulfilling his contract and quelling boredom. These safe panels could very well be generators that power this place by sucking in magma-originating thermal energy. Certain rocks get destroyed by the lava flow because they are not some sort of standard security stuff that's supposed to be there for intruders ceasing sake. Despite said apparent barrier's bizarre neatness, it's actually not an intentionally formed structure. Rather, all that boulder rubbish is merely caused by coincidentally competently coordinated cave-in chaos, which came about after maintenance machines malfunctioned. Those regular doors that show up later handle heat no problem. Ride armors must possess tech that extremely cools off upper head section junk so those who wield them don't get all melty because of normally emitted heat that emanates from those torch arms and whatever. Apparently, said scorching suit sections sear so much that they cause more burning action than Earth's naturally contained fire funkiness. Also, the area arrangement ultimate arm parts are located here because Light wanted X to get handy with close-range charge attacks by practicing with that nearby mini-mech very carefully. Zero's leaving behind surplus energy copy patterns which produce enough airflow to trap and move this guy in a degree that matches his blue buddy's basic glowing. In addition to regular nonsense about heat not liking cold air. People living underground don't really have to deal with wind all that much, so he probably wasn't designed for it. The Falcon armor was given a powerful tiny sniper laser thing because only full flight could let X reach places where truly precise aim-enabling viewpoints exist. Spike-stopping shoes show up here because Light wants somewhat cyan steel sun to stay vigilant about not floor-located fatal pointy deals while wearing the Gaia armor. Rancid Rose has potent problems with heat connected to magma because he's designed for accepting planetary insides generating power sources, but not currently tuned for that particular form. So, he's programmed enough to suck in anything coming from Earth's center places, but things get all screwy once his core realizes something other than regular soil was absorbed. The virus's true form must contain data of that first light champion's greatest struggles in order to have inspiration for harming whatever current ones come about. It also possesses the ability to memorize areas that successors struggled with in order to shape some more cruel idea-sparking nonsense action. On that note, Dark Devil Doodad duplicates are stationed here because, based on said info acquired for hero torture planning, Wily started thinking a creature resembling his prized yellow giant was more likely than anything else to take out X. It retains the old electricity weakness because Program Reserve Albert is too pissed to regularly remain clear-headed enough for vulnerability eliminating logical mindset upkeeping Watson. This segment shaped itself based on where Zero first got brutally damaged battling Vile during game number 1, because Wily's been obsessing for years over how his most prized creation could ever fail. Somewhat different than those last two areas, which were fully patterned after prior problematic places, this stage was constructed from plans focused on hypothetical peak exhaustion creating crap that would render the two best friends all limit push before battling one another. In cases where infection caused supposed true self-insanity to happen, this location would merely be a training ground to be utilized before more intense fight versions came about. The ultimate armor winds up jettisoned here in its entirety because Light was able to figure out perfect security program creating what have you after witnessing Myra's final form freakishness. Also, he doesn't want anybody holding back now because it'd be too risky. Speaking of which, he's willing to enhance that other guy too, because if said glorious hair-packing combatant was truly against Wily, the creator-originating punishment could very well be overwhelmingly cruel. In cases where Zero never got infected, X still believes he's dangerous because the whole digital labyrinth's energy signature matches the former's almost exactly. Mr. Taller Blue Boy had Light fix that fourth armor and installed backups of its same game weapon to throw his only current battle tool utilization accustomed best friend off guard. Arresting him after combat confusion came about would have been a much safer scenario than going for simple overpowering action, as that would involve far too much accidental pal killing risk. Kinda connected, unlike his fight-regretting comrade who normally gets rid of weaponry right away because bleh, yuck. The not a pacifist hunter doesn't carry battle maneuvers from one crisis to another for self-imposed challenge purposes. Max level rematches exist simply because Sigma and Wily are aware of those charcoal-shaded final enhancements the currently active heroes just got. Also, this strength stat is likely based on how much the virus has spread throughout one system over time, and they are entirely made from said stuff, so... Anyway, pod production plans pop up yet again, because always attacking Albert really wants one of his older schemes to finally work for once. 3 gadget guys got better battle bodies based on what Dr. Doppler couldn't and or wouldn't create back during X3. The first one has electricity acceptance problems because building junk in this weird place messes with normal physical laws somehow. That second shape has trouble with peculiar powers because its fading virus form can't really handle being so close to another odd matter state deal. Sigma is growing ever more inclined to constantly fight his favorite blue nemesis because that wacky Wily Rot virus installs instincts that all say, every light creation must die horribly. Commander Crazy Chin chooses odd wording for his ocean-toned rival-taunting speech, so stories about Albert and Thomas formerly being allies make it seem like father folks actually betrayed their metallic children. Light only erases X's current memories and capacity to create new ones about Zero if the latter reaches a form resembling Wily's original purpose, because if he didn't, under such circumstances, best friend revival lengths like those shown in game number 2 would inevitably repeat. For the most part, Doc Diligent would think Apple Armored Android going bad was an unavoidable thing after witnessing it just once, because pain from his old friend never reforming still lingers intensely. Under normal circumstances with both hunters always exhibiting good guy behavior though, there's no worry about constant revival plan enacting, because this AI scientist is reflecting on how he's always thought the good in his former friend never truly faded. Funny how just one event can change one's perspective. Endings are a pain, but all of you are fantastic. See ya.